Let's talk about a few ways that you can set up your week for success and lower your stress. Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today I wanted to offer you a few tips on how to manage your week in a way that flows, the way that makes you feel productive but not stressed out and allows you time for rest. But first, if you're new around here, hello, my name is Lydia Senn and I make videos on frugal and simple living. I'm a mom of 4 and I am passionate about saving time and money, and I like to teach you all my tips and tricks, and my hope is that you can find 1 or 2 things every week that are helpful for you. So if that's what you're into, I would love for you to subscribe and join this community. As always, I have so many tips and notes, so if you see me look off to the side, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at my notes. I know that this is a particularly busy time in my life, and I keep saying, what's that meme that's like, adulthood is just saying after next week, things will slow down every day until you die. And that is what life feels like right now. And that's what life has felt like for a while. But I also feel like I am managing things well. I am staying on top of things. Things are getting done. And I'm not feeling as stressed as I have felt in the past. And so I wanted to just share some things that have helped me manage this time in my life. And my first tip is to throw your stuff on the floor. My first tip is to start with just a weekly overview. And for me, I plan 2 months at a time. And so I have a visual calendar on the refrigerator. We just started a new schedule in February. And so I actually had to erase this and start over. But I've got February and then March right underneath it, so that we can see 2 months at a time. And then when a month ends, I bring the other one to the top, erase the other one, and start over. And so this way my kids can see what we have going on. We all have this, it's on the refrigerator. Everyone passes by it multiple times a day. And so I can point to it. If a kid asks for something or needs some information, go look on the calendar, go see if it's on the calendar. If they want to do something, go see if we have something on the calendar before I say yes. So just a simple visual calendar. It can be a wall calendar, but this is really great if you have young kids who need a consistent routine or just need to know what's going on. Anything on here that I want you to see? I also use a weekly overview. You can just use a commonplace notebook to do a brain dump. I like to do that, where I put like my meal plans, appointments, things that have going on. I take some time on Sunday to jot all of that down, and then have just like a weekly running list. I just keep this on our kitchen table. I move it when we eat, I move it when we do school, but it's just like a little visual overview of what we've got going on, what our priorities are for that week. This is how I keep going. I also, of course, use a digital planner. You don't have to use all of these things. You don't have to use any of these things, but picking some place where you kind of download your brain and download your schedule is remarkably helpful. My next tip is to set your priorities for the week. And this is just 5 things that I'm going to focus on for the week. Why do I choose 5? Because I got this when it was on sale. I'm not trying to sell this to you, but I got this when it was on clearance, and it has 5 bullet holes. That's the reason. There's no scientific method behind this. There's nothing other than there were 5 spaces. So I need to pick 5 or fewer things. Otherwise it looks messy and then I just ignore it, because I'm great at ignoring messes. Just identifying what are the top priorities for the week and then what needs to be done to achieve those. So for example, last week I filed my taxes. I needed to find all the things that I needed to do to get my taxes together. I also needed to set some appointments. So that's 3 things right there. We're going on a trip, so I needed to book that. And then I had some scripts for a client that I needed to turn in. And so those were just 5 things that I needed to focus on. Obviously, there are more than 5 things that you're going to have to do throughout the course of a week, throughout the course of an hour, but these are just 5 things that like, oh, these are really important and I need to get them done, and I need to make sure when I have little pockets of time, that's what I'm taking care of. Next for me, I need to block out work time. Since I work from home and I'm a student, I need to block out the time that I'm going to focus on the things that I need to focus on. And not every day is going to look the same. For example, yesterday, my daughter she's has therapy every single day. She has autism. And so she had her therapy in the morning, then a second therapy later in the morning. Then we had an orthodontist appointment, and then we had karate, and we also needed to do school. And so I also had work I needed to take care of. So on Sunday night, I had to sit down and make a schedule for that day. And one of the things that I do is look at, when do we have appointments? What do we have going on some of these busier therapy days? What work deadlines do I have? And then I figure out when I'm going to do this. And so those blocks of work are a moving target. And I have a whole video on how I block schedule my time, which I will link in the video description so you can check that out, because it's more a fuller overview of how I do that. Okay, next, I'm going to say this. Meal planning, taking time to meal plan. So I do this on Saturday. I will order my groceries, I will set my calendar, I will meal plan, I will do laundry. Saturday has become like my home admin day, because it's really the only day that I have uninterrupted time. If there's activities that my older kids are doing, I'm usually staying home with the younger kids, and so I'm not having to leave the house. The thing that I add to my schedule is my workouts. Going and doing strength training and cardio at the gym has become very important to me. I've been doing it for 3.5 years now, but my schedule is not always the same. So last week, my husband had to travel out of state for work, and that meant I couldn't go at 5 a.m. because there would be no one here to stay with my kids. So it meant that I needed to either line up childcare, take them with me, or find a time to go when they were involved in other activities, or just take them for a walk with me. And so while that physical activity is important to me, it's important enough that it's going to go in my weekly schedule. It's also going to happen at a different time. I have had to really become comfortable with flexibility in my life in a way that it used to have killed me. It's also really important to add in downtime when you can. And for me, some of that downtime is my quiet time early in the morning, which is why I get up so early, or making sure that at the end of the day, once my little kids are in bed, my big kids and I, we play a game, we all have quiet reading time. My husband and I chill in our room together and talk and catch up on Severance, because oh my gosh, review what's working at the end of the week. Reflecting on the past week kind of helps you see pain points, things that didn't work out the way that you wanted them to, things that just simply aren't working anymore. And it's really easy to develop a routine, develop habits, develop patterns. They work for a little while and then they stop working, and you're trying to, instead of making the routine fit your life, you're trying to make your life fit the routine. And it's okay for things to change. And it's okay to say, for a time this worked, and it's okay to say, for a time this worked, and now it no longer does. And so I'm having to let go of this because this schedule and this routine no longer serves me and my family, and find out what does. And so just taking a little bit of reflection, not even every week, but every month when you look back, which is why I like to do my reset videos, and see what's working. And also setting realistic expectations for yourself. And I talk about how when I know I'm going to have a busy week, I set my expectations to 0. And there are a few things that I do when we're having a busy week, like make sure that I meal plan and have meals already ready that I can throw on a sheet pan or in the crock pot. I make sure everyone has 3 to 4 days of clean underwear and clean clothes laid out. I make sure that I have childcare lined up, and I set my expectations to 0, because something's going to go wrong. And if I pack too much in my schedule, something is definitely going to go wrong. And so having a mindset that whatever comes, I'm going to just go with it and hold things loosely and be okay. Another thing that I like to do is set theme days for productivity. And what I mean by that is, because I've been a full-time student and I work and I have I'm a mom, I have all these people to take care of, I will have days where I do school and I'll have days where I work. And there are days when I have to do both, but if I have a big test coming up or a big work project, or my kids have a big school project, I try to have days where I only focus on that thing. And so sometimes you'll hear me say, today's a school day for me, or today's a work day for me, because that is where my mental energy needs to go. Okay, love the 2-minute rule. live by the 2-minute rule. And if you don't know what that is, it means if something takes 2 minutes and you have 2 minutes, go ahead and do it. And so for me, if I have a minute, I'm gonna unload and reload the dishwasher, clean the sink, and sweep the kitchen floor. Or I'm gonna send out some emails. I do that brain dump every single night, so I know like who I need to email, what I need to take care of. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. Go ahead, think of some things that take 2 to 5 minutes, and think of where you have some of those pockets in your day, and like just keep a running list in your phone of just those little micro tasks that you need to accomplish. For me last week, it was calling the county to see where I needed to go to get my kids' birth certificates, because I realized one of my kids was born in a different state, but 3 of my kids were born where I live, and I did not have a single copy of their birth certificates. I was updating my emergency binder and realized I never had them to begin with. So I needed to make the phone calls and figure out what I needed to do to get those, and I'll have them. Thank you. It didn't take long at all. Sometimes hyping ourselves up for that task takes longer than the actual task itself. And then taking time to review your schedule every single day. So we have to be at my daughter's school, as we call it, at 8 a.m. every day. And on the way to school, I'll go over our daily schedule with my kids. And I've found that to be remarkably helpful. And I'll say, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do today. Let me use up all my words. When I'm done using my words, you can ask me any question you want. And so they know, we're going to be here, then we're going to do school, then we're going to be here, then we have this activity. And they feel a sense of ownership over their time. They feel secure because they know what's going to happen. And then I just feel better because we all know what the expectations need to be. But taking a little bit of time to review in the morning before you start your day is very helpful. Sometimes you need to review your schedule with yourself. Like sometimes you are your kid and you need to go over it to make yourself feel more secure. Okay, I hope that these tips have helped you. I would love to know, what are some things you do to organize your week? Leave me a comment below and tell me. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.